So, why Republican?
Republican, it only came two and a half years ago.
Oh, were you a Democrat?
I was a Democrat. You know,
were you raised in a Democratic household?
absolutely. You know, and I tell people it's by default. It wasn't because I was educatedly became a Democrat. It's just that my mom say, "This is what you do." My grandmother say, "This is what you do." My grandfather would say, "This is what you do," and you didn't question it. I never have made a vote up until recently that I actually did any research, put any energy into.
So you were like a default Democrat.
Yeah, 100%. Not until my marketing company started working on political campaigns, and a good friend of mine ran for public office. He ran for lieutenant governor of California, and he asked me to come on board to help with marketing, social media, and community outreach. During that time, I traveled all over California. It was a $2 million campaign, so we had some of the brightest minds in the political world in this small circle that we had, and I was privy to every single thing. So whether it's strategy, information, and education, once you are privy to the information and know the history of different parties or groups or whatever, then you put yourself in a place to make a logical decision, a common sense decision based upon your own opinion, and you just kind of derive from that. But what I realized during those conversations, because one of my good friends is a Caucasian guy I've been knowing for 7 or 8 years, is a great guy, family guy, we've done a lot of good stuff together, but they're telling me this is the guy I should hate. And I didn't agree with that, you know? And so I was able to form my own consensus, so to speak, and then I realized that I live by these conservative values already. I just haven't put the label on top of it.
Right.
And that's what I tell people. It's as simple as that when it comes down to why I'm a Republican. I live by the core foundations of what that is, what it stands for, and what it means to be a Republican.
Yeah. I had Condoleezza Rice. She was a Democrat until 1982.
Yes.
And when she changed her political affiliation to Republican, in part because she disagreed with foreign policy of Jimmy Carter, who was the president then, but also because of the influence of her father, who was a Republican. And she told the 2000 Republican National Convention, "My father joined the party because the Democrats in Jim Crow, Alabama of 1952 would not register him to vote, but the Republicans did." So there were but there's a contingency of black Republicans that come from that era that stayed registered to the Republican Party. But and she doesn't actually say here why she switched, except for that she disagreed with Jimmy Carter's policy. But she received a lot of pushback for that.
Right.
Have you received pushback?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I've received a lot of pushback, and mainly because when you align yourself with certain individuals, especially if they're polarizing, like I've been to the White House 3 times in the last 10 months. This is a kid from the projects, from poverty, to build himself up, to be self-sustainable, independent entrepreneur, but also sharing with other people. I've done all these so-called great things by the opinion of many, but immediately once that was identified, I'm less ostracized immediately. And to us, it was puzzling, interesting, but it was something that we kind of like knew that could potentially happen. But it's never, you never understand it until it's actually happening. No different than me being, attacked now with people creating pages in light of my candidacy, and the page is called Protect Pasadena. Like, protect it from who? From me? Like, they created a page called Protect Pasadena, and the strategy is a little awkward because they're following a lot of people that already follow me, so they pretty much already know what I stand for and who I am. But the vitriol of some of the language and the content that they're using, hashtagging my family, and we recently had a code enforcer from the city come to my wife's business. My wife been in business for 8-9 years in Pasadena, and that's never happened. But all of a sudden, even though we're good, like we didn't have any issues, everything is solid with that. But to know that they're going to those lengths to do that, just tells you how much of a threat we probably are, how much they dislike my decision.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep rolling. I believe in having faith. I'm God-led. I have an amazing wife that's supportive. My kids are supportive. And as long as I have those things in place foundation-wise, I'm flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pasadena is 71% Democrat.
No, it's 84.
It's 84? So
no, I think it's like 74.
Yeah, okay. So there's a very small, a smaller percentage Republican,
Right.
and then there's some independent in there as well.
Right. In total,
So-
it's 84,000 registered voters,
Okay.
and 30,000 are Republicans.
84,000 registered voters, and the current mayor of Pasadena.
Mhm.
I know it's a nonpartisan race. But
Absolutely.
do you know what his political leanings are?
He's a Democrat.
He's a Democrat.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like you are facing more of a challenge being black in running or being a Republican in running?
I think it's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
You know, there's a traditional mindset on how you obtain success and what accomplishments means. No different than, say, for instance, if, you know, today we're in a different time of, I call it, how you expedite your information and how you become more successful faster. Say, for instance, if I wanted to get into cutting hair, right? I can go on YouTube. If I have talent, I can go on YouTube and watch somebody do it for like 2 weeks. And I can be just as good as someone took a 6 to 8 month course and got that certificate.
Yeah.
So we're in a different space when it comes to that. And when I tell people with me, they was looking at me like the audacity of you to run for mayor. But I'm like, I've been in politics my entire life. You know why? Because it's politics having a relationship. It's politics having friendships. It's politics going to work, dealing with your supervisor or your manager, or dealing with people in day-to-day, dealing with people in traffic. Politics is only a word. We put the label of politics only with one association, but it applies to so much more.
Right.
And so with me, with a background of marketing, sales, and advertising, I've been negotiating and dealing with people, individuals, and companies for over 20 years. And so me, I feel like I'm at home. I'm right in place. But the difference that I'm bringing is a different kind of alignment, because I want to empower people. They want to develop people. They want to develop, you know, companies and buildings and empower developers. I want to empower the people. And I'm not saying I'm against developers. We just have to slow down so we can have somebody in there with a different brand of leadership and skill set that can actually empower people to afford all this new development that we've occurred over the last 5-10 years.
Right. So you want to take it back a little bit to get a foundation
Absolutely.
so that people can keep up, basically, with what's going on.
Because they spent 20, 30, 40 years of their tax dollars beautifying the city. And now those are the same people being pushed out. So
Right.
who are we building up the city for?
Well,
And that's
yeah.
not a fair assessment.
Yeah.